morning, and welcome to Beware of Spoilers. I am Adam. It's Friday. A very nice Friday. It's nice, very near 50 degrees. I saw the new episode of The Flash last night. I saw something about it, and I was like, oh, I see where this is going. So let's preface this with something. The first thing to die in the era of social media was nuance. And what I mean by that is, in the era of social media, we don't use social media anymore. The first thing that kind of went away was the idea that people can have an opinion that's easily explained in 140 characters. And I think that the decision that goes on in this show to have Ryan Wilder be Red Death is something that I have I don't want to say I have a more nuanced take because it sounds kind of pricky, but like it's the kind of thing where the fandom around The Flash has, for a very long time, I would say since the show started, been a very thinly veiled place for misogyny and racism. There was overt examples of it with people being like, giving substantial hate to Candace Patton for playing Iris and a bunch of other people. But this was the first real, what's it called? The first real idea that, I don't want to say it's the first. There's a lot of these, but it's the kind of thing where it's like you look at the show and you're like, okay, that's the thing. So it's like things started to become veiled criticisms that are kind of like a secret code at this point, where it's like people who shipped Caitlin and Barry kind of became a front to launder the image of people who didn't like Candace Patton in the role. Like, that was that kind of thing. I saw one tweet that was like, Eric Wallace ruined the show. And he's only been the showrunner since like season 6, I think. And I'm like, yeah, no. I mean, I've watched the show religiously now for 8 years. Season 1 I watched on Netflix, and then I caught up in season 2 and started watching weekly with season 2. And so 8 years now I've been watching this show. And I think that for anyone to get up on their high horse and be like, oh, now The Flash is bad. It's like, well, no. The show started to take a downhill turn around season... you can make the case for season 2, probably. But I would say, really, season 3 is where the show started to really have a marked drop-off in quality. And then it's like, well, here we are with, what's it called? Now we're at this point, and it's like, alright, well... It's just been the same trajectory we've had for a long time. And to say that he's the one who ruined the show, it's just like, oh, so the black showrunner was the one who ruined the show. Got it, I understand. And one of the things that has now become kind of a boiling point for this has been, or not a boiling point, but I guess an inflection point or something that people are pointing out, is Ryan Wilder coming back from Batwoman, which just ended last year, and playing Red Death. Now, I have a problem with that decision as well. And it's not the issue. I would have had the same issue if it was Kate Kane as Red Death, and it was Ruby Rose coming back. It's not that. It's that we're in the final season of The Flash. This is the last season. They went into this season knowing it was going to be the last season. The problem is, number one, we're building towards. I think I addressed this in the when we did the first episode this season. You're building towards Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths. Once you start doing this, that's where you're going. That's problem number one. Problem number two is, for the duration of the Arrowverse's existence, from 2011 or 2012, when Arrow first started, to now. For most of that, they didn't have access to use Batman or Batman-adjacent characters. So what you end up with is Oliver Queen becomes less Green Arrow and more somewhat Batman. Which mileage will vary on. Some people really love that decision, some people really hated it. Fact of the matter is, that's what we did. That's what it is. And the other thing that happened was that they kind of made relationships between the protagonists of the various shows kind of a linchpin of the entire universe. And some of the things in the crossovers that people really liked. Like, thinking back to the end of that first season of The Flash, one of the best moments in that, and it's also partially in season 3 of Arrow too, they also do it, but that crossover where Oliver shows up to help fight Reverse Flash, and it's Barry, Firestorm, and Oliver fighting the Reverse Flash. And yeah, it's not that fucking ridiculous line that to this day I hear and I'm like, this is a really stupid line. The whole nanites courtesy of Ray Palmer, like that kind of thing. It is the, you know, it's. I'm looking at this show. That relationship between Barry and Oliver, even though they didn't really intersect too much, it was a brotherly relationship that you really could get behind and could understand, and it's two best friends. And considering that up until now, the whole thing has been, you know, this is going to be his last outing as the Flash. I mean, unless the rumors are true and he's taking over for Ezra Miller in the movie, which I'm totally on board with, and I think that'd be great. Like that was one of the things that, like, in this episode I was like, oh, this is like some of what I really liked about the show from the beginning has been captured in these first 3 episodes, where it's like the relationship between the characters has been one of the things that got me on board with this show from day one. It's like watching these characters unfold and you know, become this family has been one of the more entertaining aspects of the show. Now, here's the thing. This should have been Oliver, because if we're going to say that up until 3 years ago, when they finally got the ability to use Batwoman, or Elseworlds when they first introduced Batwoman, if we're going to say that Oliver was basically filling that role, and Kara's filling the role of Superman, and I guess Barry's filling the role of Wonder Woman, I guess, I don't know. But if that's the Trinity, and he's filling the Batman role, however you want to parse it out, he's the Batman role. And the issue becomes very quickly, why is it not what do I look for here? Why is it not him as the Red Death? Like, that's something that Barry should have to grapple with, because now we're getting into this next episode, where it's a 2-part episode starting next week, Mask of the Red Death, and it's going to be about Barry and the team grappling with the fact that Ryan Wilder is now Red Death. And the problem with that is, and this is the entire problem with this, and it would have worked marginally better with Kate Kane, but even then I still think it would have worked best with Oliver, because Barry didn't have a strong relationship with Kate. But in this show, for what's going on, for them to grapple with that, it's like, it might as well just be another metahuman. Like, it might as well just be another speedster no-name from anywhere in the multiverse, because they don't talk about, or they've never had, I think Iris had screen time once in Armageddon with Ryan Wilder. And that's it. And I think that that's the big issue here. Like, that's the big issue here, is that this issue is meant to be, this is a character, and again, it's, I saw someone say, like, oh, he's so cool in the comics. Like, he's appeared in, like, 15 comics, and it's like, alright, whatever. But if this is what we're doing, and all of that, and you're gonna have Red Death be the bad guy, then Red Death has to be someone especially in a truncated season, that we can do shorthand to create a relationship with. Like, use someone the audience knows. Now, maybe they couldn't get back Stephen Amell for a multi-episode arc. Maybe that's the problem. If that's it, okay, I understand this. But Stephen Amell's coming back. He's coming back this season. So why was he not priority one to play the Red Death? Because that would have been... And look, I've been saying that since season 5, when they teased the Red Death. But the problem is they're not going to... They're not going... Like, at this point, there's nothing we can do about it. So, looking at her performance and all of that, it's like her saying, "I am vengeance," which was another thing that a lot of people got really pissed off. Again, I guess it's Robert Pattinson's line, and it's like, well, why is she saying it? And it's like, because this is a very different character from Batwoman. But again, it's like, I think the point I want to make is that there is a way to have a dissenting opinion and not just be, oh, I don't want her there because she's black. I think the issue is that because we're dealing with this truncated schedule for this season, because it's not a full 26 episodes, and you can't get Ryan Wilder there. And by the way, I think that of the DC heroes in the Arrowverse, I think that the Batwoman mantle has the most dangerous rate, because like fucking Kate Kane went missing, and then now Ryan Wilder went missing, and no one knows where she went, and it just like, and no one thinks to raise an alarm about this and be like, oh hey, by the way, Batwoman is missing. Like, and that's kind of the thing, is that the Arrowverse did start out very interconnected, almost to a fault interconnected. Where it's like and a lot of it was mostly CG, because it'd be things where it's like there'd be an episode of The Flash where or an episode of Arrow where it's like, I forgot who he was talking to, but he had to get vouched for by the Flash. So just like this, the lightning comes in and leaves a post-it that says you can trust him, and it's like it's a great little moment, because it's like they're calling in favors to each other and they're helping each other out, and it's like it's that kind of thing where it's like I just don't quite understand why this is the thing we're gonna the point where we're at, where now in a post-crisis world, which is meant to be a world that is more connected, we're somehow less connected, to the point where it's like, why is Barry assembling a rogues team to do this? Like, is Kara still in space? I guess Kara must be, but no, because earlier this season Kara is referenced, and Kara's back at work at Catco. And look, I get it, Melissa Benoist didn't come back, so they couldn't use her, and it's like, but why is he assembling this team of rogues to do this? It's like, oh, well, you can't assemble other people? It's like, well, why the fuck can't he? He's the fucking Flash. He was in Paris and ran back home to go investigate a crime scene. Like, I don't understand why we had to go with a rogues team and we couldn't just be like, and a lot of it comes from the fact that we can't use these characters because of other things and actors and stuff like that, where it's like, okay, well, we can't bring back Hartley Sawyer, so let's just, ignore, what's it called, let's just ignore, Elongated Man, he's not coming back. What's Cisco up to? Like, hey, we need help stealing something. Can Cisco come help? Like, alright, that's an option on the table. What about, there are so many other characters there. It's like, why was Allegra sidelined? Because did Allegra lose her powers? I don't remember. But, like, why is Allegra sidelined during this? Why is Allegra not having an active role, considering she's a meta? Like, that's the thing, is that there are so many things that could be done that it's like, why was it not, priority one to have other people involved? Why not call Diggle and see if Argus can get involved in this? Why is it the only thing you can do is go and gather a team of rogues? And there's some really weird editing in this episode, too, I might add. Where it's like, he is, the scene where they talk to Golden Face, and I love Golden Face, he's so ridiculously over the top, it's hilarious. But like the scene where they go to talk to Goldenface, or Goldface. Goldenface was the character in The Office. They go to talk to Goldface, and he, for whatever reason, it looks like Barry and Pied Piper are on their knees in front of him, but I don't think they are. I think they're just standing. It's like to make this guy look so tall, but this guy looks like he's like a head and torso taller than everyone else, and I don't think that either of them are short people. Like, it's a weird editing choice. I'm just like, can we get a different cinematographer on this maybe? Like, this is an odd decision here. And then there's some weird effects, and I'm like, whatever. At this point, I'm not going to do it. But, like, you mean to tell me, I think this is my big problem. It's like, you couldn't call Kara. Because we know Kara's back on Earth, so call Kara. Call Cisco. So what's Cisco up to right now? Just be like, hey, we have an issue where someone's trying to make a cosmic treadmill, and there's one component they still need. Can you guys come back for like 10 minutes and help us steal this thing, and then you can go back to whatever the fuck you're doing? Like, I don't understand why that was not an option. Because that's the thing, is there are so many metahumans still in play who are not bad guys, and even non-metahumans who could help out in the situation. It's like, okay, so we're going to call to get, what's it called? We're going to call to get information. It's like, well, why the fuck did you not call, to see if you can get Batgirl or Batwing's help before this? Why did you not call them before they get to this point to be like, hey, can someone come help me and fucking steal this thing? Like, they should have done something where it's like, all the other heroes are too busy, but the problem is they raise the stakes too high, too quickly, to the point where it's like, oh, they're building a cosmic treadmill, and that could be catastrophic to the universe. So, when you get to this point where it's like, alright, well, we gotta get people together, it's like, if you tell people that, they'll fucking drop everything and come. Like, fucking, they got, fucking Jefferson Pierce went to the fucking Hall of Justice to go and depower Barry as part of the Injustice Protocol on a fucking, like, moment's notice. Like, fuck. Like, I just don't understand. Like, that's the thing, too. It's like, you look at this episode and you're like, okay, well, we're going to do, we're going to, we need someone to overload this thing with a power. And it's like, okay, but why was Jefferson not called? Because he has lightning powers. Kara had, like, that's the thing, is that, and that's the thing too, you can't get that thing at the end where Chilbane's gonna turn on him, because if you have all good guys, then no one's gonna turn on him, and that's the other issue, is that the plan is too good then, if you do it. But again, we're getting into the 100th episode issue with this, where if you remember the 100th episode, that's the one where Barry and Nora go back in time to get parts to create a dampener to stop the Cicada's dagger, and they go back in time to all these different points in the show, and they get all the parts, get it together, get back to the present, and then they go to fight it, and their big plan, after disabling the fucking dagger, is throwing it into a breach that's not. It's a breach that's in this, like, low Earth orbit. Like, why not fucking portal that thing to Saturn, or the remnants of Krypton, which, oh wait, that was pre-Crisis, or, fucking another universe. But, like, just be like, hey, by the way, Kara, we're dealing with this guy. Can you just fucking breach this thing over there, and you just, take care of it for like 10 minutes while we fuck this guy up? Like, there are so many options that they didn't do that it's like, oh, you're just setting it up to lose. That's the same thing here, where it's like, it just makes the heroes look dumb. That not only is Barry suggesting this, but no one around him's like, this is a really fucking stupid idea when we have allies who can step in and do this. Like, it's just so stupid. It's the kind of thing that kind of just pisses me off. But we'll wrap up there for today. So tonight we'll be talking about Emily, the new movie coming out in theaters. We'll be debuting the new ranking system later today as well. And until then, have a great rest of your week.